This is Sybert signing into General's Evolution on the map Frozen Pipeline, which is very thematic because I'm recording this in December, even though it's like 50 degrees where I live. It is not at all cold. We have in the north of this frozen tundra, we have the USA Vanilla E1A2. And on the other side of the map, playing the green and playing USA Air Force. Going for whatever he is. This is Kyle. Kyle Reno versus E1A2. And yes, that is an airfield first. So not too surprising from an Air Force general. But also, you know, it is nice to see aircraft being prioritized. Again, not too much of a surprise. We'll see how it does versus this early missile defender push, which is coming right down the middle of the map. 5, 6, maybe even 7 missile defenders headed towards the base of Kyle. One supply center is up. The second supply center is being added on now. Raptor, I assume, is what is going to be coming up. Actually cancels the supply center and instead goes for a barracks. So he was not expecting this at all. Whatever he's got coming out of here could, yeah, it is going to be a Raptor, could be jumped on by these missile defenders. For now, a couple of the missile defenders have been pushed off to the right. Kyle, not necessarily expecting this to happen. Engineer grabs it first, but Kyle will get the second engineer. So, yeah, Kyle will get the second engineer. So E1A2, unfortunately, will not have very many veteran units. Lasers will be able to zap away most of those rockets, and the Raptors looking for kills elsewhere on the map. Kyle, very fortunate for him to get that veteran center, that veteran academy second, because of course it does mean that he will have it for longer. And really, okay, there is another engineer. I was going to say, really, E1A2 should take this opportunity to capture it back. Couple of sentry drones are here. 2 Raptor volleys to clean up 1 sentry drone. So infantry will be able to hold off those missile defenders, and then the Raptors will be able to hold off those sentry drones. The sentry drones are not in high enough numbers that it's too big of a problem, and it is Rangers v. Rangers. E1A2 now has control of that veteran academy. Firebase getting a couple of shots in here, but most of them are missing, and once again, the sentry drones just getting sniped by those Raptors. If the sentry drones ever stop coming, then it will be easy for the Raptors to start picking off the infantry as well. And, well, down to 2 supply trucks. No second supply center for Kyle Reno, so his economy is weak compared to E1A2. And E1A2 is even going for the expansion there in the corner. Fortunately, both players do have the oil derrick, so they have that extra bit of income to support them in this case. A couple of missile defenders getting shot up there by the Rangers, and another sentry drone does go down. A double vet and a single vet Raptor. They have been slowly ranking up over the course of this game, and of course, killing off those vet 1 sentry drones helps boost their ranking a little bit. Another sentry drone goes down. Another rank on these Raptors. They are rapidly approaching fully heroic status, and a supply truck gets killed off there in the middle. Another firebase being added into the mix. There are Rangers in the side of this firebase, so they're going to try and stand up against the Rangers and the infantry of E1A2. I'm really surprised by how much infantry E1A2 is pumping out. He has a couple of Avengers out on the field now. Humvees could be after that, and it is going to be an expansion with a war factory blocking the front into that corner. So at the same time, Kyle Reno has got his own expansion. His economy has stabilized a bit here now that he's got that expansion up and running. Second barracks was deployed, but it does get cleaned up, and Kyle still doesn't have his second in-base supply center. It is being added on right now. I think E1A2 has run the course on this. Raptors are going to come in. They will get the power plant. They will get the supply center as well. It gets restarted immediately, but that will be some lost income, some lost mining time for E1A2 in the north. Engineer goes for the cap. It is going to be a swapping veteran academy back and forth for these two players. And Missile Defender is going to be taking down that firebase. Rangers trying to get in a couple of shots. Warthogs come in, they get the barracks, they get the supply truck as well, just as the second supply truck spawns in. So technically, very little lost mining time there, but of course, Kyle Arena was counting on having 2 supply trucks there. War Factory does get cleaned up, so the production of Kyle, or of E1A2, will be cut down from this point forward. He's going to have to rebuild that War Factory. Full rank up comes in for a couple of these Rangers, using those flashbangs to clean up the infantry forces. But that Comanche was not long for this world. Killed off, I think, 1 Ranger, and then the missile defenders finished that off. Supply center finally up and running, about to have 2 supply trucks as well. War Factory being added on, I think, for the first time for Kyle. This is a very late War Factory compared to normal timing, but with how fraught that early game was, you can understand why Kyle was so late getting to that War Factory, and snipes the oil derrick. Legitimately a very good kill there, but an easy target as well, so it's smart of him to go for that. E1A2 not going to kill the Veteran Academy. Is he going to recapture it? He really should recapture it if he's not going to kill it. Warthogs come in, trading hit for hit, but it's a big miss from Kyle. E1A2 lands that hit on the other side of the map. Kyle, unfortunately, misses. The timing there just not quite good enough. Veteran Academy once again trading hands. A couple of Rangers are here. I assume they're going to try and clear out the building. And yes, indeed, they do. They eliminate most of those missile defenders. Avengers and Humvees, a couple of them getting cleaned up. All 4 Raptors do survive that engagement. Kyle's early airfield still paying dividends. And E1A2, on the other hand, stealing some of the supplies from his opponent. I think this is an accidental rally from this supply center, but he actually has 3 trucks there. So that may be on purpose. He may be just doing this to steal a little bit of resources from Kyle in the south. Get a very slow and slight income boost for himself. E1A2 is going to lose that Veteran Academy, so it is now gone from the field. Kyle did not want to have to deal with it for any more amount of time. He's happy for that to be gone rather than try and fight over it and recapture it again and again and again. Barracks on the front line. Decent number of sentry drones. This will buy a little bit of time for a refuel, but the next swing in by the Raptors, if they do not clean up the Avengers, the next swing in from the Raptors could be deadly for those Raptors, which have been slowly ranking up. 2 of them are fully heroic. 1 is double vet. And the Humvees are vulnerable, but those Avengers will shred the Raptors if they get even close. Second barracks is coming up onto the front line. Missile defender is going to be taking down a number of these Humvees. A couple of missile defenders will be able to laser lock on that heroic Humvee, take it down as well as sentry drones pushing to the front line. E1A2 has a lot of pressure on the front line, and Kyle would like to have some breathing room, but E1A2 is not going to give it to him. Humvees pushing in, a lot of damage being done, but it's mostly to just this front line defense. No critical infrastructure has been struck. Kyle can afford to lose a barracks or 2 and still survive the day, but he needs to stop the bleeding from going any further. Humvee's still pushing forward. This slow parade push from E1A2 is gaining ground. One of the Raptors go down. Pretty much all of the missiles get zapped. Sentry drones being pushed further and further back, and this slow push from E1A2 is now in the middle of the production of Kyle Arena. Raptors come in for another pass. A couple more of these Humvees being chipped away at. E1A2 has 20 grand in the bank, so there is no excuse for having a lapse in production. He has got more than enough income, and now he kills off the War Factory. E1A2 is starting the snowball rolling in his direction. He is going to warthog the airfield. He gets the kill. He misses the Raptors on the deck, but he gets the kill on the airfield, and that needs to restart immediately. Another airfield needs to be out on the field very, very soon. A fresh command center is coming up. Unfortunately for Kyle, he has to finish that building before he can start that airfield, and it should come up momentarily now that the build queue is clear. No airfield just yet. Those Raptors sitting somewhat uselessly in the sky. Humvees being pushed back. All sentry drones from the air general. No Humvees on the air general side to mix in with this army. Sentry drones going to be targeting down. Fire bases are now in range. A number of Humvees extremely low on health. They get bursted down. And Kyle on the other side of the map has a couple of spy drones, but not much more than that. Humvees looking for the kill on this critical infrastructure. E1A2 made a bit of an overstep, utilizing extremely low health Humvees on the front line, and Kyle was able to take advantage of that. However, the front line isn't going to last forever. Warthog strike comes in, big miss. It forces a couple of the Humvees forward, forces the Avengers back, but more reinforcements coming in. E1A2 still has a healthy bank of 15k. Raptors continually bringing bombing run after bombing run against these Humvees, but now with a second war factory up, Kyle Areno can start spending that 12k bank that he has accumulated, and E1A2 has not made the progress that he was hoping. Firebase after firebase gets eliminated, helping to cut down on the ability of the defense to hold, but with this second war factory coming online, eliminating one war factory, or eliminating one firebase, is sort of the equivalent of having a second war factory in terms of defense. Kyle Areno is happy to trade out Static D for the ability to produce more units. We're literally doubling his production speeds. E1A2 is going to pull back. He still has the numbers advantage by a decent amount, and he's got the supply drop zones coming in as well. A couple of Humvees getting picked off. The Raptors continuing to rank up, very consistent with these bombing runs. Double airfield now completed for Kyle Areno. E1A2, he has got this big Humvee army, but it's not invincible. It's not going to last forever. Decent number of sentry drones here on the front line, buying time for more reinforcements, and more importantly, more Raptor strikes, as E1A2 is unable to break the front line, and no particle cannons have been brought into this fight. This might be one of those games where they agree to not build super weapons, and so neither one can crack the front of the other. As E1A2 ranks up to a 5-star general, he will have the opportunity to bring in carpet bombing, Moab, fuel air bomb, these different tools that can help break the front door, and that is where the defense is going to get a lot harder, but also the potential of an offensive or a defensive fuel air bomb, Moab, or carpet bomb to light up the forces of E1A2 becomes very potent for Kyle. Kyle has tightened his defensive net, and he now has 2 supply drop zones being added into the mix, so his economy is going to stabilize in a fairly late game position. One Raptor? No. It looks like 0 Raptors going down here as that attack has been executed. Okay, I think 1 Raptor did get cleaned up there. But E1A2 loses a couple of Humvees. Kyle keeps the front line now moving forward. For the first time in perhaps the entire game, Kyle has a bit of breathing room outside of his base. E1A2 has switched into Tomahawks. He is hoping the artillery is going to help him get the advantage here. He's got a decent number of Avengers. The Avengers have mostly survived these engagements. 1 more Raptor goes down, and these Tomahawks can now slam into the sentry. Well, the sentry drone's pushing forward. I'm not sure that that's a good idea. They are going to retreat from the front line. A couple of more sentry drones die on exit as these Humvees rank up off of their kills. Raptors come in, and this is where the Humvees get ahead of the Avengers. The Humvees get picked off, and the Avengers can't do anything about it. Right at the end of that engagement, the Avengers finally had made their way to the front line, and I assume it's sort of going to be Avengers on the front line, Tomahawks behind that so that they can engage at range, and then the Humvees as well. Moab or a carpet bomb. It's going to be a Moab on top of the supply drop zone, the strategy center, and the airfield. All 3 getting scooped up in that 1 Moab. A couple of Humvees getting picked off there, and it's going to be sentry drones up the left side, but this has been spotted by E1A2. He has more than good enough vision of this part of the map, and that Moab stopping those attacks, or at least slowing down those air attacks by removing one of the airfields from the map. Supply drop zone will be the early warning system of this attack actually commencing. It gets jumped on. Power plant after that. Humvees will respond on the front line. It's going to be a Moab coming in as well on the strategy, or on the supply center there, and the sentry drones are going to go for the kill on the power plants, on the infrastructure there. He's trying to kill the income and kill the infrastructure at the same time. Another power plant will go down. Pretty far into low power mode. E1A2 is going to be slow to respond to this. Warthogs coming in. They will get some big damage on the strategy center and on that war factory, but both do survive, and the sentry drones will escape over to the left side. Strategy center, airfield, supply center, all coming back up for Kyle. He's got to rebuild once again. Both players had massive banks that have now dried up. E1A2 drawing a 0, Kyle drawing a 0 on his bank account. Fortunately, they both have a couple of supply drop zones that have survived. They're keeping themselves in this game with those supply drop zones, as the supply center numbers have taken a big dip in the last minute or two. Strategy center gets sniped. That's a huge kill for Kyle. Denies any further supply drop zones from coming in, even sniping another one of these power plants or getting a kill on one of the supply drop zones would be huge for Kyle to cut down E1A2's ability to rebuild. E1A2 has a number of Humvees here at the front line. He needs to be able to kill off these sentry drones quickly. Tomahawks are trying to deal with the firebase, but it takes a lot of Tomahawk missiles to knock one down. Avengers are too far back, so the Raptors get some good kills on the front line. Humvees are getting thin, and the Avengers do absorb a number of the rockets there, but the firebases kill the last 2 of the last 3 Humvees. The fight is tough for E1A2. Kyle Areno's defense is not as weak as it once was, and now Kyle Areno, or E1A2's offense, is much weaker than it once was. The defense has grown, but the offense has weakened. Sentry drones are going to be able to overwhelm that Humvee. Reinforcements coming in. Another Humvee on the front line here for E1A2. E1A2 with a fuel air bomb on top of the airfield, and all of those aircraft on the deck survive. A fresh airfield has been plopped down. 4 fully heroic. Carpet bomb comes in. Gets the supply drop zone and nothing else. Actually, the supply drop zone survives as well. Warthogs bring down that airfield. Kyle Areno keeping his Raptors in the sky, rebuilding a double airfield at the same time for his 4 fully heroic and his 1 double vet Raptor. Those guys have seen some things. One of Kyle Areno's mistakes in this game is not clearing out the vision of his opponent. He has been getting spied on virtually this entire game. E1A2 has always had some kind of vision of what Kyle has been doing. 2 Raptors move in for the strike. One of them goes down. Fortunately, it was the weakened one, or it was the non-heroic one, which is good for Kyle. E1A2's economy has been phenomenal this entire time. His macro and unit production have been solid for most of it. Oh, he goes for the command center, and he gets it. Command center just as the strategy center finishes up, and E1A2 has been defeated. I think that was his only command center. I don't think he had a backup command center. And as that CC goes down, Kyle gets the win. E1A2 with a fantastic game for the first 10 minutes, and then chaos struck. But at the end, at the last moment, it feels like Kyle Areno gets the win, killing that command center and finding the critical damage. And how many times did Kyle dodge aircraft on the deck being eliminated? So many support powers coming in and sniping those airfields time and time again. Kyle Areno constantly vigilant, always paying attention and always keeping his aircraft alive, allowing him to use those units for extreme efficiency and win the game. That'll do it on this Frozen Pipeline match. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.